And we are back for another episode of our live streaming of M3U8 processing or M3U8 parsing. I don't look at that. All right, look at that. We're streaming already. All right, so the past few Sundays we've been going through the M3U8 processor, or just saying it again, the M3U8 parser. And we will recap a little bit about what M3U8 is and why it's important and what we did the past couple of weeks. And hopefully we can wrap it up tonight so we can move on to something else. Just to, before we go into that, I just wanted to share that I was thinking about going through report portal implementation the following weekend. However, I think I'm going to put in that Selenium Wire live implementation that we figured out before we go into report portal. Although I think tracking QA metrics is extremely important. We might need a few sessions on that, and I think we have like 2 sessions of the Selenium Wire implementation. That being that I figured it out, we can get that out of the way, and we can get out of the way, and we can figure out how to configure that. Because with configuring that, I want to have a couple of different projects done, so we can, when we implement report portal, we can have different metrics coming in to our report, to our QA metrics. And all that is going to be beneficial to you and your team and your organization when tracking QA metrics, so you can have visibility on what's going on inside the QA organization of your company. So I got for that. I have 3 videos coming out this week. One tomorrow for Candid Conversations. We have a software exploration coming out on Wednesday, and then we have a new series called The Bug Bite, where we review QA bugs that are been reported and the impact that they have, and we just reviewing general information. So look out for those 3 shows coming out this week, and we can talk about that from there. I didn't do the countdown today, just trying different things so we can see what works, what doesn't work, and we're gonna keep modifying, making things better as we go along. And thank you for building this with us, and let's get started. So, and of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask any questions, and we will make sure that we get every single question answered. All right, give me a second. Let me pull some things up here. Let's see. Let me see here. Just cleaning some things up. Alrighty, so let us get started. We're gonna recap. Let's do a quick recap on what we've been doing, and then we'll go into what we're gonna do tonight. Let me put this out the way. And let me see if I can get one more thing up here. All right. All right. So All right, so let's get going. All right, so let's get this going. All right, we have we've been working on the M3U8 parser. What is that used for? That is used for HLS streaming. And what is HLS streaming? So let's do a quick recap. Did that already, but let's get that going. Let me share the screen. So let's see what HLS streaming is. All right. So what is HLS streaming and when should you use it? I don't want this article. Just the general. All right. So HTTP live streaming is what HLS stands for. That's what the acronym is. And it's used to deliver video and audio to a massive audience tapped in via the internet. Basic explanation. We've been through that already. Let's look at this. Actually, I think this will be a good diagram to look at just for the recap. So live media. So what we're doing right now is in theory HLS streaming, or in actuality, not even theory. So live media, camera, studio, mobile device, right? So I have my camera running with the software that we're running to do the live streaming to YouTube, and HLS streaming is happening, HTTP live streaming, and then it's being delivered into the different qualities that, so we have the 360p, we have in this diagram, we have 360p, we have 280p, we have 720p. 720 is our HD quality, 360, that would be our low quality. I think 480 would be our standard definition. So I'm not even sure what the 280p is. It looks like looks for like a vertical. But yeah, I have to look into that one to see what the 280 is. I'm not too familiar with the 280p. So we have our live media. We're recording, and then it's being streamed through HLS, right? And when that happens, it creates a manifest file, what we typically would call the M3U8 file. And then that M3U8 file will have, so you'll have a variant manifest, which would be like, would be called M3U8. So let's look at what we had right in our code. So we have this playlist that we got from Flow Grappling, right? And then inside of that variant manifest, it has the different quality manifest, right? The playlist for the quality manifest. So that means there's going to be a M3U8 file for the, depending on how high your qualities go. So let's say you have a 4K, it'll have a 4K manifest M3U8 file. You'll have one for the 1080p. You have one for the 720, for the 480. It depends. The qualities, they're going to be based on what the video provider, how they encode and do their qualities. But in general, you would have like, so you'd have a different quality manifest, and then it would go down to and then inside of those quality manifests, then it's going to have the segments, which are the actual video files, right? So if we had to, let me see, I had to do this on the fly here. White board. See if I can find something to do this real quick. Totally on the fly here, but I think it would be a cool diagram. Let's do draw.io. I think that'll work pretty good. Make a quick flow chart about this. Let's say decide later. So let's do it in reverse, right? Where we're going from the segments all the way to the variant manifest. Because I think sometimes it's easier looking at it from the ground up instead of like from the top down. So let's say we have, take this box here, another box, that box, that box, right? So let's say we say 001.ts. What does TS stand for again? Well, why don't we find out? I believe it stood for transport stream. Yeah, a TS file is a type of video stream file. It is used to store video content on DVD and Blu-ray disc. I think I might have mentioned this last time. I remember I got this camcorder a long time ago, and I believe that it was saving the files as TS files. So I had to figure out how to get those and convert them at the time. So let's see, TS file. Let's say video, just make sure. Yep, video transport stream. Yep, so that's what it is. All right, so let's say we have, and the transport stream, it contains like chunks of a video file, and when you combine all those TS files, it makes a greater, it makes the full video. So let's say, and through the diagram, we'll be able to see it better, right? So 001.ts, 002.ts, 003.ts, 004.ts. All right. And then now, so this would be like, let's say we configure it to be, let's make this a little bigger so we can make sure that everyone can see this. Can I make this bigger? View. Okay, so let's go to 200, right? I think everybody can see that now. So we have 001.ts, 002.ts, 003.ts, 004.ts, right? So let's say this is 5 seconds of video, right? And this is another 5 seconds of video. And we configure that each TS file is going to be 5 seconds of video. But this video right now we're at 15 seconds, but the total video is 19 seconds. So this last one is going to be at 4 seconds, right? So we have 15 plus 4 makes 19 seconds, right? So this whole video is 19 seconds. And now we have, let's do a circle. So now let's say we have, so let's say this quality that we have is, we'll go with regular HD. So 720p quality. Or so let's call this sample 720p. Oops, don't want to do that. On the Mac, when you the keyboard that I use when I press end, it sometimes, depending on the program, it goes all over the place. If I press home or end, it just goes all over the place instead of going to the end of the line, because Macs are a little different. All right, so then let's say this one is called M3U. All right, so I'm gonna take that, put this up. Let's say text. I don't want it to be inside. Let's go like that. And then I'll put this one to, where can I place the text? Let me just leave it like that for now because this isn't important, right? All right, so, and now this goes here. Let me just manually drag them. So that'll go here. That'll go here. That'll go here. Delete that. Put that one here. All right. So inside of this, well, inside of the 720p quality M3U8 file, the quality manifest, it is referencing to all of these in sequential order to say this one's going to be played first, this one is second, this one is third, this one is fourth, right? And then inside of the variant manifest, so this would be the variant manifest, and it would, so this variant manifest would be referencing to the different quality. So this example is just like one quality, the 720p quality, but it would be referencing to the it'd be referencing to the 360, the 480, the 720 as we have here, the 1080, the whatever it is for 4K, all the different qualities that would be offered. It would reference it there, right? So this is just one example, and then you have all of these TS files, these little video files that would make up the full video. You would have a copy of it for each quality. So for instance, here, this would be the 720p quality, right? But then you'd also have the same 4 videos for the 360, the 480, the 1080p, and so forth, right? Whatever qualities you have, you'd have those videos all the way to the top, right? So that is how the variant manifests here calls the quality manifest, and then the quality manifest called the transport stream files, right? So that's a recap of what we were investigating. And now when we come to the M3U8 parser, because if we look at the content of the M3U8 file, I wonder if I'll be able to. Let's see. Always print it up. I don't think we'll be able to get it this way, but it's going to ask for a download, I believe. Yep. All right, so we're just going to use our M3U8 parser to print it out then. So let's go back to our PyCharm. Make it a little bit bigger. So just so we can see what is inside of it, we are going to do this right here. Not that one. We are going to do let's go to this. So this one is going to load the URL that has the M3U8, and that should be the variant manifest. So let's just find that and let's print that out, right? Just so we can see what's going on. I do not. All right, so let's go that, and we'll do dot. Just print this out. I don't remember what this one's gonna print out. So let's comment everything else out in the bottom. And then we can go back and we can investigate. We can like go through that again, just so we can be caught up to speed with how the M3U8 file looks and why we need to parse it. Let me print that out. right, let's run it. See what happens. Let's see here. All right. Okay, so all right, so we printed out the object. So that's not what we want to see here. Let's do, which one do we want? I don't want the data. I just want the, I just want the whole thing. I just want the actual manifest to be printed, but it's not the data. Let's do segment. No, it's not segment. Let's do playlist. Let me see what happens. All right, so it prints out. Here. Prints this out. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to download the file just to compare. I just want you guys to see what's actually inside the file. Boom. I'll download it right here. And make sure you don't just click it open because it's going to try to open it in like iTunes or something like that. So let's do open with, do I have a software to open that? Okay, so we are opening it with, let's go with text edit. So this is how the what's inside of the variant manifest, right? Of the M3U8. If we pull it up next to here, it might be kind of small on the screen. Let me see. I can make this bigger. You, all right, that works. So if we have this here, and we have this here. So let's look at this real quick. So so because the M3U8 parser is parsing it, it's starting off. It's only giving you part of it, right? So, but this is the actual content of the M3U8 file. This is the parser is doing its job because it's only giving you like the playlist here. If we were to do so if we were to do, okay, so let's comment this out. We're gonna do the other way. So that way we can actually see the same exact thing. So if we did the get request and we said to print the content of that file. Oops. Print the content of that file. Okay, so now if we run it again, we should, yeah, so now we get the same thing because we are we're doing a get request on the URL and then we're just printing out the content. So now we have the same thing, right? But this isn't what we're working towards. We want to be able to parse an M3U8 file, and that's where we and that's where we left off, right? So and last time we thought about like different test cases that we could do for testing the M3U8 file, and that's what we're going to get into, and that's what we're going to finalize tonight, so we can move on to something different moving forward for the following weeks. So let's pick up to where we left off. Why are all these uncommented all of a sudden? I'm gonna undo everything. I'm gonna undo to where we left off. All right, so let's look at what we have. Let's make this bigger. So what is the first thing that we like to do to see where we left off? We like to run it to see if we get any errors, and then we can read through the code, right? So let's just run it, see where we're at. I've already commented this out. So, okay, so let's let it run and then we can read through the code, see what it's actually doing. I don't need this one actually. Lost my water. Imagine that. And if we look through here, they're going through the files are being loaded from CloudFront, which it's allowing it to be cached. So for faster delivery when playing back the video files. So TS segment. What did we do last time? So we printed TS segment, and then this is going to for TS segment in playlist.segment.uri full path to the full path of the TS segment is playlist.baseURI plus TS segment. So that's something that we put together last time so we can get these URLs. All right, so I'm going to stop it so we can actually, so we see that it's actually working, but let's see what's working because that was a week ago and my memory is not that good. So let's see. All right, so let's start from the top, right? So let's ignore the commented out line. So we have the request being imported. We have all right. So we have our M3U8 parser. We have our request library being imported, right? And let's scroll down a little bit. So here we have M3U8.load, which is loading it from it's loading the M3U8 file from this URL that we kindly borrowed from Flow Grappling. Okay, so skipping out these commented lines. I wonder if I could hide them. Yes, let's hide our commented off lines. Perfect. So it's a much cleaner view for us. All right, so we have so we're saying load our manifest file and load it into this variable called Ralph gets destroyed in BJJ playlist. And we are saying assert that file, that manifest, is a variant, and so it's true. And it says manifest to be expected manifest to be variant and actual if so this would be this error, or if this was false, if this assertion failed, then it would print out this, right? And we went through that last time, so I'm not going to modify it again. So if you want to see the context of how that works, watch our last live stream. And here we are. So we're getting these resolutions based on what was inside of this manifest file, right? So they had 1280 by 720, 960 by 540, 800 by 450, 640 by 360, and 480 by 270. All right. Now, here we're saying we're going to loop over. So yeah, and I think we found this out last week about the enumerate. So that way we get the index of when it's looping through it, and then we also get to use something inside of the playlist. So we also get to do like it's our for loop, but with the enumerate, we also get an index to count it, right? So we are saying assert resolution for manifest at the index. So so resolution at 0 would be, make sense of this, in the playlist for that particular playlist. Stream info resolution. Okay, so we're verifying. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're verifying that this manifest has the different resolutions involved. So okay, so here we're verifying that the variant manifest correctly has the resolutions that they should have for the videos. Okay, so that way, like, we know the manifest that we know that the quality manifest that should be generated, and then we are validating that those quality manifests were actually generated. Okay, cool. We got that, and then this validated. So at the very beginning, we should have had. Okay, so now we say, all right, the playlist M3U8 load, absolute URI, and then here. Okay, so this is what's being printed out here, where we're actually printing out the segments. Okay. So we are validating that our resolutions are loaded, and then we are validating that we're not validating anything. Yes, we're just printing out the segments that are actually being that are inside of each of the variant manifests. So what we should do, though, for clarity, we should know what is the manifest that this is part of. So I don't know why we commented this out, but let's put this in here. But what's going to happen, let me see, is there another for loop? Okay, so there's a for loop in here. So that way, if we do, I don't know why this is a peak print. Let me, so we can go like that, just so we can actually understand, like, so we can see what's happening. Let's do this. So we're going to say, all right, we're going to validate that the quality manifest load. And then here we're going to load the URI. See, I don't want the segment URI here though. I actually want, I think I want this. So I can see what is the URL of the manifest. So let me put this way. You see, and this is how we actually structure, like when we're writing our QA code and we want to build documentation of the test that we're executing. So like when they're done running, we have a well detailed, okay, these are the steps that were followed, and this is the results of these tests, and these are the parameters that were used. If I hope that makes sense, because we can just run the test with no context, and I've seen that happen before, where people will just run tests, but they have no idea what's going on. They have to like do so much investigation where it fails. Where when we properly document the text, when we properly document the steps that we take in the printout, that now if something fails, we can just go, okay, this is exactly where it is. So like we print out the URLs, all of that information, versus just having like no steps, no output, and we just have to like kind of, it's like the investigation comes a lot more than if we just manually test it, you know? So all right. So the investigation becomes a lot more work than it has to be, because we didn't properly document the steps that we were taking, right? So that's why you see all of these outputs in here. And then let's say you're using like some type of console logging or logger, then you can put it in there as well, right? But you just want to have good documentation, so anyone can easily troubleshoot what's happening. So that's why here, say I want to output the quality manifest resolution. I want to output the quality manifest URI, and I hope that's what this is right here. Right? We're gonna run it. We're gonna find out, right? And then I wanna print out the segments for the. I want to print out the segments that belong to that quality manifest, and then it should just loop the way that it's looping here. And here we're also asserting that we are getting a, like when it tries to hit that, so what are we doing here? So it's saying it takes that URL, this URL, and then we are going to, it takes that URL, and there's a get request, and it's making sure that it gets a 200 response in that get request. And then, okay, so then here we're asserting that it is a video file, okay? And so then these are different tests that we're running on this, right? We're making sure that this is the status code from hitting that segment is a 200, and we're saying expected 200, but if it failed, we want to get the actual status code. So let's say it doesn't exist and it's a 404. So now that segment is missing. We want an output to, we want that status code of what it was. So we have more context when we're investigating. We just want to, because we could just do it like this, right? We just do it like that. But now when it fails, it just tells us it failed. We don't necessarily know why it failed. See what I mean? So that's why we like to output the expected results and the actual results. I've been doing that for ages, because with testing, when we would have our like wherever we're documenting our manual tests, we would say this is the step that we're taking. This is the test data. This is the expected results. This is the actual result, especially if they differed. So now when I went into automation, I took the same concept of the expected results and the actual results. That way it can be documented and we can have our historical reference. So that way we don't have to, like, when we're writing up, let's say there's a problem, we're writing up our defect report, where we're not like scrambling. It's like, it's like, I kind of write it with this pre-built for you, so you can just copy and paste the information, right? So if we keep going, so we're saying based on that response, the transport stream response, the headers. So the content type that we're expecting is a video / MP2T file, right? We're expecting, and it's not. It tells us what the actual content type is. So let's give it a run, and then we can, where'd that print come from? So let me see what this is. Let's put this print. It should print after the TS file. So let's give it a run and let's see. For the sake of speed, let's take this out for now just so we can see the TS files get printed. And then we can give it a run with, all right, there we go. And then we can give it a run with these. So right now what it's doing is it's going through, it takes the variant playlist, or it takes the variant manifest, and it takes it through, it finds the quality manifest, and then it finds the transport stream files, and it's printing them all out. All right, so if we go to the top, our quality is 1280p by 720. This is the path for the manifest URI, right? So they're putting it in a folder called 3000. And so you see this quality manifest for 1280 by 720 is inside the 3000 folder. And then inside of that is all the TS files, right? So 3000 folder, all the TS files, TS segments, quality manifest URI, the resolution, right? And this is great documentation that we can have for all of our executions. So now if we scroll down some more, now the quality manifest for 960 by 540, it's inside the 1700 folder, and then it has all the TS files, right? Look at this beautiful documentation. So it's so easy for anyone who's reading it to understand what's going on. And I can even make it even better, actually. So if we do this, just like to make it even clearer. Let's say you want like this, and because you can use your QA work to build documentation. Like I remember one time, like at a company where we were facing a lawsuit, the way that we had our automated test documented, that was used as proof and evidence in the lawsuit to help our case, to show that we were properly validating what was the basis of the lawsuit, right? So that's to show that how QA can have such a big impact by just thinking a little bit more instead of just like, oh, I'm just gonna go and test this. It's like, no, like how can we make this clear? How can we make this with great documentation so that anyone in the company can be provided this document, and then they can be provided this document, and then they can use that for whatever it is that they need, right? So think about those things. It's not just about testing like a robot. It's we are building the robot to help us. You're not the robot. We are building the robot. All right. So that's what you got to think about. Anyways, let's keep going. So we have here. So like I said, let's say we wanted to. I think this is pretty clear. Quality manifest result. I'm gonna add one more thing to it. Let's add one more thing. Let's add, for documentation purposes, I want to put just so we can have just go like that, right? So that way we can say Mm, mm. There's a lot of other stuff that we're not even gonna cover in this parser, but it's like it has so many different gems in there. But for like testing purposes, I think we've covered a fair bit of what we need so we can start being able to automate playback. One thing I want to do too is like reach out to I want to reach out to different different testers who've been working for video like streaming companies to see what it is that they've done to test. Because I'm just curious, like, what are their strategies of testing? Because I'm pretty new in the industry for video testing, but I'm curious because I'm sure like companies like Netflix, Hulu, NBC, Fox, all like they've been streaming for a while and they have YouTube as well. Like I'd love to get in contact with some YouTube QA engineers to see like how they test their streaming platforms. You know, because YouTube's always coming out with new features. I'm curious about that. So let's see. So here I want to have what would be the can I get the base URI? I don't know if I can get this. I think we've tried this before and it failed. Let me see. So I got the base URI. I want now I want to get the actual file. Oh, what am I thinking? This is like so that is the file. So there's okay, I'm crazy. So that is the file. So what we could do is this is the variant manifest URI. That's not probably a better way to do this, but let's just go with that. So this is the variant manifest URI. All right, so we got that. All right, so now, so that would be there. Okay, so we have all of this. So let's uncomment this. So we have our response. Okay, so we're validating that we're getting a 200. Something that I do want to see though is TS response. I would like to see the headers to see if there's any other thing that we can like try to validate on. Let me see. All right, let me stop it. Even do a p print on it so I can get a nice little JSON print out of it. I'm gonna let the whole thing run because I just want to get yeah, I just want to get this. So let's see what we have in here. We have content type, content length. In theory, if each chunk, no, they're different. They're close, but they're not exactly the same size. So let's see here. Is there anything else that would want to validated on. So this is something that you could, if you wanted to validate on, see if you're caching from, is being pulled from the cache or not. Why don't we add it? That'll tell you. So that's telling you if your file is cached at the CDN. So let's add it because we do want cache, so we can get. I mean, when I say we, like, in theory, your company would want good cache, so your viewers can get faster delivery. But once a video was watched, then it could be delivered faster. It's not like being pulled directly from the original servers. Let's say X cache. It from CloudFront. And CloudFront is your CDN. And for those who would like to know what CDN stands for, we can do a quick Google search. What is a CDN? Oops, CND, not CND. Oh, that's pretty cool. Computer Network Defense, CND. Content Delivery Network. A content delivery network is a distributed group of servers that caches content near end users. Learn how CDNs improve load time and reduce costs. So pretty much there are different servers all over the world, all over the place, and they store content that was accessed by someone. And now when another person wants to access it, that content is closer to them. So because person A accessed that content, now person B is able to get it a lot faster. So for person A, it might be a little slower for them to get it, but because person A accessed it, now person B gets it a lot faster. Maybe one day we can go into a little bit more about CDNs. I'm not super familiar with CDNs, but I know that when at one company that I was at, I think the company Akamai used CDNs, and we worked with them. So that's like my first exposure to CDNs. But we can probably look into dive deeper into that another day. But I just wanted to touch on that because that's what this is what we're going to validate here. We want to be a hit from CloudFront, and we're going to say indent that, make sure I'm happy. Expected. Oh, I have to change my setting because I'm trying to find a faster way to run the test, but some shortcut that I keep hitting triggers them. All right, so expected X cache to be found. And when I do my assertions, I always do it as the expected results, and then I say actual X cache was, and then I say let's put an F string on that, so we can put yes response dot headers, and then we say X cache. Then we're going to print out what the actual X cache response was. And I always do it that way so I can say this is what I wanted, but this is what it actually was. And it's printing out exactly what it was at the time. All right, so we're good with that. And I lost the thing because, all right, let's run it a little bit and then we'll stop it. See if there's anything else we want to validate on. All right, let's stop it right there. I don't think there's anything else that in here that I would really look for. But I mean, this is where like you would talk to your team about, like, let's say you're talking to your software engineers. Say, okay, I see that I can validate on these things. Is there anything else that you think that we would need to validate on? Because maybe, and this is why I say it's important to have these conversations before they even start implementing, because you start with your test plan, and you're looking for things that you're going to validate, and then they might have something in mind that you don't have in mind. So before they even start to implement, you say, okay, these are the things I'm going to be looking for. So now they have that in mind, right? And then they say, okay, we actually have this implementation detail that as well, that it can trigger this. But now you have that in mind too. Now once they're done with implementing, and now you go to testing, we're all on the same page. They know what you're looking for, so they take that into consideration, and you know what they're working on, so you take that in consideration. When we have this whole, we don't talk to each other, and I'm going to write my test cases, and then they're going to do the implementation, and then now the first thing you test, because we're not on the same page, we have an issue, right? Now we have to send it back, and we waste time, and then our sprint goes into a mess, and we don't want that to happen. We want to be on the same page as our engineers, and we want our engineers to be on the same page as us, and that's how we get development success. We have sprint success. All right. So keep that in mind. Make sure we're always on the same page. We discuss things before we even get started. All right. So let's go. So now, here we are. I don't see anything else in here. I mean, I don't. So if I was working at Flow Grappling and we're building like how these manifests get generated, I would ask like, hey, do we need like, hey, so and so, do we need to validate this date that's being put here? And what this date looks like is at the time that it was requested, it gets logged, right? But I think we're good for now on this part. So yeah, let's give it one last run. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna validate the status code. We're going to validate the content type. We're going to validate that the CDN is a hit from the CDN. Let's give it a run. Make this a bit bigger. Let me stop it real quick because we don't need all those headers being printed out because we already have the ones that we want. So let's take that out. And honestly, I don't think we need to print out each one of these segments either because we don't really have a use for them at this moment. So the only thing that would miss is it telling us which one is doing, but let's take it out because we oh, what we can do though, right? If something was to fail, and this is something that I like to do as well. If it was to fail, we could say we would do like this. So we're gonna say was expected, this was the actual results, and this is the segment. Let's say like we name it like failed on segment, and then God, so annoying. I really need to change this setting. Failed on segment, and then boom. That way we have what was expected results, we have what was the actual results, and then we have what segment it failed on in this test. So that way we know exactly where to reference to. And then we can do the same thing for each of these, right? Yeah, we just do the same thing, and that way I don't even need this. Yeah, let's leave that print. That way we have a good separation indicator. Yeah, so like now we don't need to print out all of this because it really doesn't matter to us. So let's say we're running it through a build tool or like Jenkins or TeamCity or whatever, right? We don't need to have all this outputted, but we can say if it failed, just tell us what segment it failed on, and then we can investigate that segment. We don't really need to see all the ones that passed, right? So yeah, there we go. So now let's give it a run, and we shouldn't see. We should really shouldn't see. We don't need many printouts. We'll get these printouts, but I don't think we need all the segments to be printed out because all the assertions are actually happening on the transport streams. And we should be getting the 200. We should be getting the video MP2T. We should be getting a hit from CloudFront. So let's give it a go. I didn't need to print that out, but whatever. So although we don't need it, I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna print it out just so we can see what's happening. But like running it, like when you're actually ready to run it, we wouldn't have that in there. We would comment this line out. We would comment this line out too because we don't need that in there because so going pretty fast. Right now it's going through our 1280 by 720. And we had the validation on to make sure that that manifest was actually that size. Now it's going through our 960 by 540. Now it's going through our 800 by 450. See that 1000 path? They're using 1000 for the folder that stores the 800 by 450 manifest and its transport stream files. Now we're at 640 by 360. Same thing. They're storing it in the 500 folder. Now we're at 480 by 7 by 270, the 300 folder. That's it. Very clean. No failures. Yeah, I mean, that is a little. So that's a test. Like, so here we have three different. We have a couple. So we have the three different validations that we're doing on the actual segments, right? We have the validation that we're doing on our quality manifest to make sure that the expected resolutions that we have configured for our organization it is the configure is the resolutions that are inside of the variant manifest. right? So we're validating that. So these are the knowns, the expecteds, and then this is the test to make sure that the expected is matching the actual, right? And that's what testing is all about. We have our expected results, and then we have our actual results. And we make sure that they match. And then here we say when we load so when we take the variant manifest, what is we want to make sure that it is variant. So we're saying make sure that that first file is a variant, like is variant is equal to true. And if it's not, then print out that it would, so this would say like manifest is, so, and this would be equal to false. So let's clean this up actually. This should be is true. But this one would say variant manifest is false, because if it wasn't the variant manifest, that's what it'd give. Right? So I have a question, right? What if you don't have this URL to get the variant manifest? What do? Because we had to go digging for this through the network tab of the Flow Grappling website. What do? Well, that's why I found it so important to investigate Selenium Wire. Because Selenium Wire allows us to go through the network tab like we did a few weeks ago here when we were trying to find this M3, this manifest file on the Flow Grappling website. We had to dig for it through the network tab. But with Selenium Wire, we can filter that out to grab this manifest file. So now what I just thought about doing is next week, we're going to use the same file or the same test, right? But we're going to add Selenium Wire to it so we can navigate to the Flow Grappling site to get this M3U8 file without having to have this hard coded in here, right? So let's do this, because I think we're actually done with the M3U8 parsing, right? And we created like about 4 or 5 tests that, like, or things that we're asserting on it. However, my friends, what if we don't have this URL? What do? So what we're going to do, we're going to say, how do we do that? For next week. That way I don't have to clamor through the code to try to figure out what was going on. Well, I'm gonna say for next week, but it might not be, because I do want to go through that. Yeah, I know what I'll do. We're gonna implement the Selenium Wire part, because it should be pretty quick, right? And then we're gonna start going through the part where, like, okay, yeah, next week we're gonna do this. We're gonna implement some Selenium Wire, because this is important to figure out, right? We're gonna implement Selenium Wire as part of this, and we are going to navigate to the Flow Grappling website of the fight, and we're going to find the manifest file using Selenium Wire, and then we're gonna update this test to feed it in here. And once we feed it in here, then we can we feed in here, then we can we don't have to have this URL hard coded, which means you can navigate to any video, pull out that manifest, pass it through here, and then it would go through. It'll do this whole ordeal of validation, right? Might have to change these variable names a little bit, but no biggie, right? But it will do that whole validation for you just by starting through using Selenium, navigate to the site of the video, find that M3U8 file, and then feed it through here. So let's do this. So we're going to say for next week, implement use Selenium wire to navigate to the site to get the M3U8 file path or file URL. Set the M3U8 as variable, pass the M3U8 URI to the M3U8 parser, test should still validate as it currently does. So yeah, I think that's a good plan for next week for us to do, where we're just going to enhance this test just a little bit. We'll enhance this test just a little bit so that we don't have to rely on this one particular URL. We can make this a bit dynamic, where we're not relying on one M3U8 URL. We can just find a video on flow grappling, and we can have that, and we can have it go through our test, where it's going to validate that the M3U8 that it finds is a variant manifest. It's going to validate these are the qualities, the resolutions that we have for it. And then it's going to validate the segment files, the transport stream segments, that they are a 200 status code. They are a video, the content type is video MP2T, and that the Xcache is a hit from CloudFront. So on that note, let's get over here. And that, my friends, is the M3U8 parser. And we just went through like some different tests that we can create when we're validating, testing HLS streaming using the M3U8 parser. If there's any other tests that you could think of, please let me know, and we can even implement them. We can add more validation to it. But this is like this is a simple test that you can do for validating testing of video streaming. There's not much yet in the realm of testing video playback, but this is a good start, because at least here we're making sure that the content type of the videos are correct, that the videos are giving us the proper response, and that we're like it should be able to ensure some type of speedy delivery, because we're verifying that the cache is being properly done. Like, so it's saying that it's being hit from CloudFront, and because it's the CDN that we're using. As we can see, they're using like a lot of AWS services for their video storage, video processing pipeline. So that's the so those are some tests that we have. If you have any other tests that you think it would be a good to do, then definitely share it and we'll implement it together. No biggie. But those are the things that we think about as QA engineers. We're delivering quality to our team and quality to our organization so that our customers can experience that quality and have a great experience using our software or our services. All right. So, like I said, next week, come back for more because we are going to make this a little bit more dynamic using Selenium Wire. I really wanted to do next week the Selenium. I really wanted to do a report photo next week, but then I wanted to do like the Selenium Wire, how we got it to work on the remote driver because that was our first live stream that we had some issues. Like we're so close but so far because it's so important for us to be able to get that Selenium Wire working on the remote driver so we can use the grid. But I think to put a nice bow on this, it'll be helpful for us to do well when I say on this because I'm not sharing my screen anymore, but a nice little bow on our M3U8 parser. It'll be important for us to do our to implement Selenium Wire on this. And even if we implement Selenium Wire on this locally, right? Then when we go through implementing like the implementation of how to get Selenium Wire to working on the remote driver and then how to get it working and part of the remote driver is how to get it working like if you have a Docker installation, if we're using like the AWS device farm. And one thing I do want to try that I haven't tried this yet is getting in AWS, right? So let's say we have the hub on one EC2 instance. Not even. Let's say, let's forget about that. This is what I want to do. I want to check connectivity between two EC2 instances. One that is, and they're both like they don't have public IPs, right? But they're in the same security group. I want to see if they can talk to each other, because one of the things with the Selenium Wire is I want to if my build agent is one EC2 instance and it's being executed and the tests are being executed like through a Selenium grid on a node on another instance, but they are on the same security group. I just want to see if I can get connectivity for them to work. So that's going to be another test that we're going to do. So stay tuned. But like I said, next week for our Sunday live stream, which I'm really debating about moving the time up earlier because I know there's some who would really benefit from it. But Sunday nights is a little bit too late for them. I'm considering moving it up a little bit earlier in the day. I have to check the schedule to see if that's going to work. But whatever time we do, stay tuned. We'll get it all situated. All right. So where are we at? So like I said, next week we're gonna use Selenium Wire. We're gonna implement navigating to the site, grabbing that M3U8 file and taking it as a variable, pass it to the parser, and run the test and see how it goes. And you know, if I started earlier, we might have a little bit more time, a little bit more energy to learn. You know, so really appreciate you being here tonight, and or whenever it is that you're watching it. If you find this information useful, please let me know. If there's anything in particular you want to see, don't hesitate to reach out on your way out. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah. So I'm wishing everyone have a great week, and we will get together again later on in the week. Don't forget, watch out for the videos that are dropping this week. 3 new videos, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we have shorts being released every day. So look out for that. And until next time, friends, you have a good one.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Technical Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Technical Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Technical Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.